guys, how you doing? It's Taylor here from Orlando City, UK, and I'm delighted this morning to say that Orlando at least have got back to scoring ways. Drawing 2-2 with the Vancouver Whitecaps last night, of course. A very, very late game for us. We clocked out at 5 p.m. in the end. That's as late as it's going to get in MLS, to be honest with you. But delighted with the team last night. Some real effort and heart shown in adversity. Obviously, we've been going for our fair share of turmoil recently. But I thought the boys did well on the whole last night. So let's dive straight into the player ratings right now. Molino, 7 out of 10 again for me. You'll often hear us on these ratings videos say that Molino's our go-to man. He is, a brilliantly talented footballer. Can go left, can go left, can go right. He's been poor in recent weeks, but it was much more like the Molino we know and love yesterday. Capped by the great teasing cross he sent in for Carl Larin to level up just after the break. So 7 out of 10 better from Molino. G. Barry, 7 out of 10 again. Received a rare start last night, obviously, of all the injuries and suspensions that Orlando are suffering right now. And I think with Haji Barry, you've really got to bring into the equation the fact that he's not played a lot of MLS so far. So for that benefit, I'm going to give him a 7 because just when a few people were starting to doubt his impact, we've seen him in cameo roles, in the US Open Cup. And in fairness, he hasn't done a great deal. He's obviously got speed, but we haven't seen much more than that. But last night he kind of brought more elements together. Was always involved in Orlando's sleek attacks in that first half, and we looked very, very good. Was a surprise after the poor performances recently, but Barry was at the heart of that. 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10. Obviously, Carl was very eager to impress. First game for Orlando in Canada, his homeland, of course, yesterday. And Larin was very good for me. There were spells in the game, don't get me wrong, where he was looking a bit frustrated, a bit out of sorts, not bothered. But then again, he was always reminding us of the fretty poses. First half especially, in stoppage time when he stung Osted's palms with a great strike. And obviously got his rewards of a fantastic hanging header just after the break. It was like something out of NBA, the way he hung in the air. Brilliant header from Molino's cross. So 7 out of 10, Larin. Mateos' centre-back partner at the back. 6 out of 10 again for me. It was a better performance as a team from Orlando last night. But still, we went into half-time feeling all totally frustrated. And Hines, it's not brilliant right now. He needs to improve like Mateos has. To be honest with you, the team's actually suffering from the loss of Tommy Redding at the moment. He's younger, obviously, than Mateos and Hines, less experienced, but he seems to be much more assured back there. So only 6 for Hines for me. Owen Seren, 7 out of 10 for me. Back to his favoured midfield berth last night. And I'm going to give Seren 7 because he's obviously usually starting. He's a usual starter for Orlando City week in, week out anyway. But he usually starts with Christian Higuita in the middle there. But partnered with Carrasco last night. Something new from Bobby Murphy. And it worked, to be fair. It worked really well. As I said on the last video for Carrasco, it gives Murphy something to think about going forward now. 7 out of 10. And Carrasco got the nod from the start from Bobby Murphy in this one. I'm going to give Carrasco 7 out of 10. He battled hard in the engine room, tried to get his tackles in. Obviously on the Whitecaps' first goal, if you watch the replays back, he was kind of standing there, but really it was the defence's job to try and clear that ball. Gives Bobby Murphy, food for thought going forward. Carrasco partnered up with Seren last night quite well with Higuita dropping out. So 7 out of 10 Carrasco. Bowden, a real mixed bag last night, but when you watch the game back, I'm going to mark Bowden as high as 8 out of 10 last night. Obviously, he showed great poise to get his head up and get the ball across the box for Baptista to open the scoring on 13 minutes. Some great play down the left from Bowden. But then, obviously, after that came the Whitecaps on the attack, and Bowden lost Bolaños pretty badly when Mosqueda tied it up. But then again, Bowden came back in the game inadvertently. Off his rear, set Baptista up to get the penalty kick, which he obviously skied. And then late on, he sent a fantastic whipped cross in. Sorry, not a cross, a corner, which David Mateos connected with, and David Oster, brilliant save. So as high as 8 for Bowden for me in the end. He was a real key character in the game. David Mateos, going to give David 6 out of 10 last night. Jump, man, jump, honestly. We don't know what's up with the defence recently. They've not been great in recent weeks in all respect. Seb Hines and David Mateos. Kudo's goal that obviously put the Whitecaps 2-1 up. Mateos is standing still, I'm not denying there was a lot of heart out there from Mateos, to be honest with you, because you could visibly see that he was trying to impress, even taking free kicks at one point, You don't associate Mateos with that. But right at the end, really, could have won it. You know, fantastic header from a brilliant corner from Luke Bowden. And I don't know how David Ousted saved it, but it could have been all 3 points even for Orlando. So a lot of heart for Mateos. He's going to give him 6 out of 10. Still needs to improve on those mistakes. 8 out of 10 for me. We consistently mark Joe Bendick very, very highly on these ratings videos, and partly due to the fact we don't want to take his skills for granted. I mean, he was calm and assured as always last night. You know, obviously he shipped 2. For me, couldn't do anything about both goals, unfortunately. But the most noticeable thing for me last night was that Bendick was so fast off his line. You know, for the large spells of play where Orlando dominated possession first off, he was watching for a lot of it, but he was still there when we needed him. Fantastic from Joe, 8 out of 10. Baptista, 7 out of 10. Now don't get me wrong, when you forget his horror show of a penalty kick, it was bad. It was getting on to, you know, David Villa standards against Orlando ourselves, you know, about a month or so ago. But if you take that out of the equation, it was a very solid, good performance from Baptista. His hold-up play is absolutely excellent. You know, that can't be underestimated at MLS level. Bullied those Whitecaps defenders time and again. Absolutely brilliant footwork to obviously tease Jordan Smith, the Costa Rican defender for Whitecaps, to win the penalty in the first place. 7 out of 10 for me, Baptista, and scored, of course, you know, so 7 out of 10. Kevin Alston, 7 out of 10 for me. He obviously lost his marker, Mosqueda, who tied it up 1-1. But in fairness to Alston, really, the parry from Joe Bendick didn't really do him any favours. After that, really, kind of levelled out. It was a pretty straightforward performance from Alston, so 7 out of 10. From Bobby Murphy, that's Antonio Nocerino. Very good, actually. 6 out of 10 from Nocerino for the short period of time he was on the pitch. His best play when he come on was a fantastically weighted overlap pass. I think it was Kevin Alston, might have been bombing up on the right hand side, but Nocerino weighted a great ball to him. You know, we was told he's a great passer. You know, he has been a good passer in Europe in the past. You know, did well when he come on. Actually, we need to see more of it. You know, because after his altercation with fans last week, you know, it's been a tough spell. You know, from the off from Nocerino really. So he needs to get better. It was good signs last night. 6 out of 10. 5 out of 10. Obviously, Higuita was a sub in the second half, of course, replacing Julio Baptista. Sent on by Bobby Murphy to shore it up, really. I think we all would have accepted a point when the game was to-ing and fro-ing late on. Obviously, we got that point in the end. Higuita, solid enough. 5 out of 10.